Yes, I. Enough respect in every aspect. Uncle spec to spec, knee spec up to your neck. This is Lutan Fyah from the old capital, Spanish town. Hey, 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 yes. Most high, them a go rich and die, and them know why. Which camel a go through the eagle eye? We need a little piece of food, figure master works. What make it rather worse? The partner when me throw the bank around the purse, Jah know it hurts. Whoa, you must man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You don't see me frustrated and the youth are dead younger. And it not still like how we look. You must man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You don't see me frustrated and the youth are dead younger. And it not still like. Me nah stretch me hands out, me nah hand out, me nah come here fit out. You know see say it's a tout. The youths them need food to them out. Too much hungry belly picking in the mouth. Me tell you this serious, I want the right amount. You boss man, give me my mask man, and you get my cross man. Stop treat the youths like orphan. Who you wash the weapon? Man, now what kind of whom you born from? Boss man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for younger, and he not still like how we look. You must man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You not see me frustrated. Jamaica, humiliated. So them treat me yet and them make it rough. No doubt to me pocket yet them style me a scruff. More time me feel wasted, but me still keep it conscious. Dirty tough me now bluff, and the riches me a run down with no red eye for things. I one thing me know, me born suffering the world. Sick and tired that they get us struggling. Man it hard, man it hard. You pass man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You not see me frustrated, man frustrated. Oh yeah, you pass man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You not see me frustrated. You remember the straight seven? Alright, well, listen. We don't want to fool. For real love, they know he must come. Don't escape without to compare it. Burn them up with just fun. The man, they let them keep up and they rest of the beat. That's what I take my time. My phone, be like, alright. Good, the rest of them standing and this time now go back home. Them know me confident long in ya. All about them tongue. You look at them try to stigmatize that try to bring me down. Whoa! You last man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around. You not see me frustrated. Hey, Riddim rebel Lutan Fyah, oh yeah, hey yeah. You boss man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You not see me frustrated and the youth are dead for younger. And he not still like how we look. You boss man, give me where me come from. Beats around the bush. You not see me frustrated. Riddim, watch out. I'll be glad when you dead, you rascal, you. I'll be glad when you dead, you dirty fraud. Spectacular when you're dead and in your grave. No more will I enslave. Oh, I'll be glad when you dead, you rascal, you. Man, give me where we come from. Beat around the bush. Whoa! I want to say enough respect in every aspect. Uncle spec, post spec, knee spec up to your neck, Jamaica. TVJ. Holy Emmanuel I Selassie. Listen.
That was Lutan Fyah and the Riddim Rebels with Riddim Rebels Band with Boss Man. Yo, it's so wonderful to have Lutan Fyah in studio. Can't wait for watching perform sometime soon. All right, recent trends and data reports indicate an increase in cyber attacks within the region, with Jamaica being a prime target for cyber attacks. Here now to examine the factors which contribute to this and how businesses can mitigate cyber risks are Director of Cybersecurity for Digicel, Douglas Thomas, and Head of ICT Sales for Digicel Business, Suzette Burley. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that. Are we cyber secure?
We hope to be.
We hope to be. All right. Now, I just said in the intro that Jamaica is a prime target for cyber attacks. Douglas, let's talk about that. What's happening? Why is Jamaica in such a space at this time?
Good question. What's happening now is this is a global issue, but specifically when we look at smaller nations, island nations in the Caribbean, right? It's becoming an issue because we are adapting to technology so rapidly. Our cell phones, everything that we use day to day, we're ensconced in it. This is all that we do now. And we use technology so rapidly where I often say we're like children with matches, right? We don't understand or know the vulnerabilities or issues. We just want to embrace the latest technology. And that comes with a lot of risks out there.
Yeah, and what are we talking about in terms of types of cyber attacks? What are the more prominent ones, the more popular ones that you're noticing based on trends?
The big one is ransomware. We hear it all the time. Ransomware is when hackers would actually come into the environment, find a way in, and obtain critical data, information that's critical or vital to a government or private entity, and hold it for ransom, in which you would have to pay money to get that back. And most times, companies have no choice but to pay it. We always say never pay it. Absolutely never, but most companies don't have a choice, and even then, they don't get their data back.
Right, and we just mentioned types of companies. We're talking about governments and private entities, and it's private entities of any size. It's not necessarily just your large corporations.
Oh, absolutely. 5 to 10 users, all the way up to 25,000 users.
And with that said, now for users, how should businesses be preparing themselves to prevent, to mitigate the risks, and just to move forward? What's a solution here being provided, or your recommendations to businesses?
What we find is that a lot of times the businesses are engaging customers using technologies. Digitalization is the way to go. And so most companies are doing that, and our customers are engaging us that way, but we're not spending the time to make sure that our infrastructure is set up in such a way that we're testing. We make sure that companies are not, or threats, we're able to identify the threats. Persons are not able to penetrate us and be able to get in. So what we're looking to do at Digital Business, we come in, we do an assessment for your environment. We're able to create a cyber structure for you. We're also able to identify some of the vulnerabilities for you and do training. A lot of persons are not training our staff to make sure that they're aware of the threats that are out there and be able to identify threats. Because the human factor is one thing.
Right.
Mobile devices is something that we take to work with us. So we bring our devices into the environment, we connect to the network.
Right.
And we're protecting the company's assets, but we're not protecting those personal devices that's connecting in. So that's another way. We need to look at how do we protect the mobile devices that's coming into our network on a daily basis, and Digital is able to help you with that.
Something I notice that some business places where I do business, or sometimes where I work, there is a network for these devices, these mobile devices brought in, and then there's a separate network for the machines that are used for the core business. Is that one good way to go?
That's definitely one good way to go, is to keep it separate, to keep the visitors separate from your core network.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely a way to go. But you also want to make sure that you're protecting that network also. And you're protecting, because your staff is getting on, they're loading company data or information onto their mobile devices. So there is ways to get in using through the human factor. Because one of the other ways that attack that is out there is phishing. I know Doug spoke about ransomware, but there's also phishing, where persons lure you in, and they try to get your personal data, and they try to get the banking information and the password codes. So it's so important for us to be able to protect that network also.
You mentioned the risk assessment. Is that only done for your customers, or can other persons who are not necessarily subscribed just yet, is that something you offer?
Absolutely. We're here for all customers, all businesses, all sizes. We're able to come in and provide them with a risk assessment test, identify their vulnerabilities, and make some recommendations of solutions that can protect and make their network a lot more robust.
And I'm sure the importance of doing that risk assessment is that sometimes businesses may overlook some things. something you never thought about. What are some of those things, though, Doug, that a business may not necessarily pay immediate attention to or early enough attention to in terms of their own cybersecurity?
Social media, anything and everything we use from a technology standpoint. When a business starts or it's an existing business, and we see digital transformation is a focal point across the region, especially here in Jamaica. Right. We have to realize that the bad guys out there have more time, more money, and more resources than governments and anybody else from a private sector could invest in to protect themselves.
Right.
Oftentimes I like to say when we equip organizations to protect themselves, they're going to the battlefield with a shield and a sword, and the bad guys already have nuclear weapons that they're using. So we have to be wiser and smarter on what we're actually doing with it.
Yeah. How do you help us protect? I mean, you mentioned the risk assessment, etc. What else does digital business provide in terms of that protection, matching up to these bad guys?
Monitoring. Monitoring is one of the solutions that we provide. So oftentimes within our homes, I like to take a layman term, right? Yeah. We go into our homes, we look at the vulnerabilities, and sometimes we put up a grill, and we put in alarm systems so that we're able to monitor. We put up cameras. Well, one of the things that digital does is that we provide you monitoring. So we can identify when there's a threat, isolate the threat, protect your network for you, and then inform you of what is going on. So that is another way that digital business can protect.
And I'm guessing, I think I might know the answer to this question, but let me just throw it anyway. How important is it for businesses when they're considering to start up to consult with like a digital business ahead of that first day, that rollout of their business to ensure that they get off on the right footing where cybersecurity is concerned?
It's very important, because that's where you would want to put in your cybersecurity infrastructure and networking and make it solid proof. So we can come in and make the recommendations of what you need to do within the organization to make it protected. Right. And I like it that you're saying it doesn't need to be a medium or large size company. It's small businesses too. Right. You need to be able to protect your network. And so absolutely, at the beginning, bring us in. We're able to come in and look at your network, look at your design, and make a lot of recommendations moving forward.
Let me see if I can get some free advice from Doug here on that matter of starting up and looking at your framework and seeing how security is. What are some of those recommendations you'd make to say to a small business, hey, pay attention to this?
Pay attention. Number one, understand what's on your network, the devices that you have, what you're trying to use to actually do work and execute from a business continuity standpoint, and your phones. Yeah. What I like to say, we see this oftentimes, is the actual, the individuals, even business owners, when we give our phones to our children, they're downloading apps on these phones. We're taking these phones. We don't know what these apps are. Right. Last year, some of the solutions that we used, we scanned and found over 9 million applications out there sending data to China.
Wow.
So when we have users that might give a phone to a child and they download an app and then they take that phone and use it in their business, something as easy as that can happen to be compromised. So you want to understand what devices you're using.
Great, thanks a lot for that. Where can we learn more?
You can contact us at 619-5000. You could visit our website at digitalgroup.com, or you can reach out to any one of your account manager service reps that is assigned to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Suzette. Thanks a lot, Doug, for being with us this morning. That's Director of Cybersecurity for Digicel, Douglas Thomas, and Head of ICT Sales for Digicel Business, Suzette Burley. Smart Jamaica continues with He Said, She Said. Please stay with us.